Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back into my channel. So in this lab, we're going to configure a SQL database with AWS. So if you were to start from scratch, you could just go on the search bar, you type in RDS, enter, and you will click here. And they will take you to here, or either you will look on the left-hand side here, where it would say databases. So you will click on create a database. So by the way, what is databases in AWS? So Amazon RDS set up, operates, and scale a relational database in the cloud with just a few clicks. So databases that we move inefficient and time-consuming database administrative tasks without needing to provision infrastructure or maintain software. It deploy and scale the relational database engine on your choice in the cloud or on premises. It achieve high availability with Amazon RDS multi-AZ deployment. Benefit from over a decade of proven operational expertise, security, best practice, and innovation in databases born in the cloud. So it kind of explains the way it works. So Amazon Relational Databases Services is a collection of managed services that makes it simple to set up, operate and scale databases in the cloud. So choose from 7 popular engine. So Amazon Aurora with Postgre, MySQL, Postgre compatible with MySQL, MariaDB, Postgre, Oracle, and bang, bang, bang. So the use cases it's used to build web and mobile application. Support growing app with high availability, throughput, and storage capability. Take advantage of flexible pay-per-use pricing to suit various application use pattern. Move to manage databases, work free from legacy database. So how to get started. So this is pretty neat. So let's just switch back and create our databases. So as you can tell here, it says choose a database creation method. So you have a standard and you have an easy to create. So we're gonna leave it as standard, but down here you could choose the database type that you want, whether if it's Aurora, MySQL, Aurora Postgre, MySQL. So it have about like 7 altogether. Now you could choose which option will meet your need. So for simple stake right now, I'm just going to pick MySQL. And just make sure that you get the free tier too. That way you don't get charged for whatever that you using. So if you want to set up a free tier, you would have to just click here, and this will pre-select some option for the free tier. Or if you have a dev environment or production environment, you could choose any templates that meet your need. Now, if it's dev, you would see there's options to choose from. There's down here like multi-AZ, AZDB instances and single DB instances and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that you could choose from. So we're going to use a single DB instances instead of multi-AZ. And so if you want to have a standby database instances, if you would use a multi-AZ type of option. Now for the DB identifier, down here for the DB identifier, I will let this be by default, use database one. Now for the credential settings, we have admin, that's the username. I will leave that like that. For the password, I'm going to use the same password that I'm using for this admin account. And okay, so what do we have next? Next, we have instance configuration. So the instance configuration, this is the size of the underlying EC2. And so in that case, we can have standard classes or memory optimized classes or burst table classes, right? And within it, you could choose whatever instances that you want with different characteristics. Now to remain within the free tier, I'm going to use the burstable classes. And within it, you can choose whatever instances that you want with different characteristics. So I will include previous generation classes. I will include previous generation classes here. And now as for storage, if you're going to use the IO1 type of the EBS volume, and as we run within the free tier, I want to use the GP2 type volume. And this will allocate me with a 200 gigabit of RAM for that, which is the lowest performance. And we use maybe 10 to 20 gig of allocated storage. So allocated storage is about say use 20, and the max is 1,000, which is good. Now, in case we are starting to near a threshold that is the maximum amount of storage we want, in case we enable auto scaling, let's say 1,000 gigabit. Now for connectivity, we have the option to connect what we call the EC2 compute resource. So choose whether to set up a connection to a compute resource for this database. Set up a connection would automatically change connectivity settings. And So okay, so now let's say we take, so between the EC2 instance and you want the RDS databases. Now you have the connection, you have other options here. Connect on EC2 instance, compute with source, you have dual stack mode, you have the IPv4. So since we don't have a security group yet, if everything else as default, let's just go ahead and create one. I can give it a name. I can give it a name. Now, by the way, so you don't have to handle the security group, which is very helpful when you're a beginner, but we're going to look at all the other options. I'm going to say don't connect. I can name my security group RDS security group. And I can put this, so it's RDS security group. And if I want to, I can put this on whatever availability zone that I want to. Now, make sure that you open the public access into your database, otherwise you won't be able to connect to it. So it says the RDS assign a public IP address to the database Amazon EC2 instance, and other resources outside of the VPC can connect to your database. So make sure that this is open, because I want to access this database from my own computer. So let's go ahead and and make this, let's say RDS database SQL. Let's rename this. Let's call this RDS SQL the DB. And I could choose an availability zone, which I don't, if I don't want to, I can just leave that. So I have no preferences for availability zone. Let me see. What do we have here for default? Additional configuration. Let's go on additional configuration. We have the database port number, which is 3306, which is good. And we have the password, the database authentication. We'll use database authentication option. The password authentication is good. So first, the first one is to use a username and password. This is what we'll be using, but we can also enable an IAM database authentication to have IAM user and role directly access the database. Or we can enable Kerberos. We can enable Kerberos, but right now I'm going to leave it as a password authentication. So we can enable monitoring, and enhanced monitoring give you a 60-second granularity, and the monitoring role. So on your resources, but I can disable it right now. can disable this right now. Now, as you look down here, it says that so let's see database option. Let's say MySQL, DB. Everything else will stay as default. You get the backup. So then we can enable or disable the backups. So the backups are automated, and we can have a backup retention period for 1 to 35 days. Sorry. Valid. Okay. And so if I say 0, then it would completely disable. It will completely disable. Then I will just completely disable them. So let's leave it as 7. And then for backup windows, we can choose a specific time windows where the backup will be done, or no preferences. That's for the backup window, or no preferences. And then we can export the logs into CloudWatch log. Export logs. Could add it or leave. Now for maintenance, what do we got? Then do we need to have maintenance windows, guys? Well, for the minor version upgrade, do we need to have like maintenance windows? So if so, what is the window you want to have? And do you have to have deletion protection? This is to protect the database. You sure can turn it on or turn it off. And then now down here, you have the price. Even though that it says this, so this billing estimated is based on the on-demand describe. So even though it told you that this is within a free tier, it's still not reflect right here. But if you use the DBT2 microtype, then you will have a free tier. Even though that it says this price down here. So let's just go ahead and create our database. Now, what we can do is, while the database is being created, let's go and download the SQL Electron. What the password you just used was found in the data breach. Bang, bang, bang. Recommend. Suggest. Says close. Okay, so now let's go ahead and download the SQL Electron for Mac. Go on GitHub. See if we can find that. Okay, SQL Electron. Download GUI. Scroll down. Which one is for Mac? It's this one. Which one? Probably this one. I think it's the DMG file is for Mac. Where is it at? It's this one here. Let's open it when done. Okay, so now let's switch into our database. Okay, so our database is being created. So as you can tell, so my database is now created. Look, a little bit of time. And now, because we have it available, and so what I'm going to show you a few options. Also, it says creating database. So it's still creating it. So the name says your database might take a few minutes to launch. So at this time, let's just go ahead and practice. What is RDS in AWS? So Amazon RDS allow you to encrypt your database using keys you manage through AWS key management system. What is WOL in? No, that's not what I. But that's okay. So that's what WOL do. On database instances running with Amazon RDS encryption, data stored at rest in the underlying storage is encrypted, as are its automated backup with replica and snapshot. So what is RDS and why it's used for? So RDS is a service used to manage database engine and instance, including Amazon Aurora databases. Amazon Aurora serverless can also be used to manage instances on Amazon Aurora. Its automation feature relief developers from having to manually launch servers and manage database capacity. So what is an RDS instances? So Amazon RDS provides a selection of instance type optimized to fit different relational database use cases. Instance type comprise varying combinations of CPU, memory, storage, and networking capacity, and give you the flexibility to choose the appropriate mix of resources for your databases. So why is RDS instead of EC2? So RDS easier to set up, manage, and maintain than one Oracle databases on the Amazon EC2. And let you focus on other important tasks rather than the day-to-day administration of Oracle database. Alternatively, running Oracle database on EC2 instance give you more control, flexibility, and choice. Switch back now and see if it's ready. Oh my God, it's so long. It takes so long to. So it's not created yet. You have to give it some time. It's either I will stop this video and retrieve back when when this database is done, let me see, view credential details. I don't really need that yet. So it might take some minute for this to get done. Apologize for all this time. So how about I stop this for now, and we and come back to this video to finish my setup as soon as I'm done with this.